Dear learners, welcome you all to this module. This module basically deals with how the youth of the society will be motivated for choosing their livelihood in the current economic situation. What will be the best option for enhancing their capacities in order to live in the 21st century? The objective of the module are: what are the behavioral traits one develops as capacities to sustain the entrepreneurial journey? And two, what are the factors that develops to bring motivation to start the journey of entrepreneurship? Regardless of the system, an entrepreneur by definition is a change-producing force and an organizer of society's productive resources. He is essentially a man with creative and innovative activities who introduces something new into the economy. This process is motivational, and the individual is the creator. There is a point to be remembered before starting our discussion. One is, an entrepreneur is one who is starting a new enterprise, scaling up or diversifying an existing enterprise. It is also remembered that self-employment is the simplest form of an entrepreneur. However, in today's economic and social environment, many technically qualified young persons are becoming independent professionals. They are also to be counted as entrepreneurs and need most of the motivation an entrepreneur should have and the traits to sustain the journey. So anyone in a way who is not salaried is an entrepreneur in today's world. We all know that one's entrepreneurial journey is embedded with lots of ups and downs. One's entrepreneurial path is often hidden with uncertainty. Uncertainty is always about future results of the business endeavor. Result in terms of personal and familial security, sustainability of business, which in turn depends on quality of product, cost-return ratio, employees' integrity and cooperation, educate, market share, etc. The most disturbing element has been the unseen events. It instills fear in an entrepreneur's mind, whether a prospective or continuing one. It demotivates the entrepreneur. Therefore, to become an entrepreneur or to sustain the entrepreneurial journey, one needs to have a strong motivation. What actually brings about this motivation? We know that the most basic characteristic of an entrepreneur is ability to take risk. This risk-taking behavior, in turn, brings together many other traits generally associated with entrepreneurs. Thus, certain factors bring about motivation to embark on an entrepreneurial journey. Which are these factors that drive one? However, this picture cannot be complete if we don't understand what are the traits one has to have or develop in the course of journey to make the factors capable of driving one to become as well as to sustain as an entrepreneur. Now let us try to get a glimpse of both the ideas. One, what are the factors or one's desire that drive an entrepreneur's motivation? Two, what are the behavioral traits one develops as capacities to sustain the entrepreneurial journey? Many empirical studies talked about four motivational factors. extrinsic rewards, intrinsic rewards, independence, autonomy, family security. Intrinsic motivation involves performing a task because it is personally rewarding to you. Extrinsic motivation involves completing a task because outside causes such as avoiding punishment or securing a reward. While satisfaction of creating something new or concretizing one's creative ideas are examples of intrinsic rewards, status such as recognition, fame, or economic consideration are examples of extrinsic rewards. However, the desire to have independence or autonomy of citizens, in short, being your own boss, is part of intrinsic rewards, and family security is part of extrinsic rewards. Several observer researchers have grouped factors of entrepreneurial motivation into six, but the most overriding factor of motivation for entrepreneurs, self-employed, independent professionals, has been need for achievement. The key motivational set of factors are achievement, a sense of individual accomplishment of personal growth and development, philanthropy of individual, family, community belief, status such as recognition, prestige, and respect, materialism, economic consideration, security, escape from an undesirable situation, independence, freedom, flexibility of work, time, collaboration, role model, continuing family tradition, etc. The need for achievement is an urge coming from one's within. This is mostly to self-assure oneself to one's worth. It is an individual desire for significant accomplishment and setting a high standard of work style or process, and thus expected results. The resultant actions associated with need for achievement include intense, prolonged, and repeated efforts to accomplish something different. Many other studies indicate that younger entrepreneurs intend to enjoy the entrepreneurial activities and to utilize their talent and capabilities than the older entrepreneurs. The older entrepreneurs intend to have personal freedom and independence more than the younger entrepreneurs. Philanthropy actually means giving it to needy, but here we are using philanthropy as for your familial and your immediate peripheral people. And philanthropy also, there are many social entrepreneurs today who aims to create and sustain business or even non-monetary endeavors for social, cultural, or environmental solutions. Most of these do not seek high level of profit. They do look for profit, but very nominal level of profit. At one time, not anymore, microfinance institution started as a social enterprises. Maybe in case of India, the same cannot be said anymore, where poor people are just the customers. Some, if not all, waste management companies or small housing companies could be categorized as social enterprises. These are new forms of philanthropy. But the old form of donating money for a cause still exists. In India, the biggest philanthropist is Ajit Premji, and the foundation in his name gets 2/3 of dividend of shares Ajit Premji owns in Wipro. Tata Group is another notable philanthropic organization. From such big philanthropists to people who donate small portion of earning to social causes, the canvas of philanthropists is very wide in India. Here I must tell you that our personal experience shows that people with very little money actually donate more, at least in terms of ratio to their income. It is worthwhile to mention the system of zakat among the followers of Islam, who donate a portion of their wealth annually. However, despite this, the ratio of income the wealthy share in India is very low in comparison to other countries. So, philanthropy as a motive for entrepreneurs is not, if you don't count the social entrepreneurs, modern day social entrepreneurs, not very big factor. Status and materialism motives could be grouped into outwardly rewards, where the person wants fame, recognition from society, or power and economic benefits and security for oneself or the family. While the former could be grouped into non-economic benefits, the latter is economic benefit. Freedom or independence is seen as a primary motive of entrepreneurship. Being your own boss, flexibility of time schedule, being able to execute one's ideas are possible when you are independent. However, when the enterprise becomes very big, this may not be true. Though I personally don't hold the person following a family tradition in running business as an entrepreneur in true sense, however, such people from business family starting a separate business or innovating within the existing business could be called as an entrepreneur. In an underdeveloped economy like ours, when the possibility of economic return is not always high, escape from undesirable situation is one of the most widespread of all motives to become an entrepreneur. I can vouch from my experience that joblessness and being single woman, unmarried, widowed or abandoned, and also husband not earning enough for the family are the primary reason of entrepreneurship among the women in the state of Assam. A couple of other researchers have emphasized the desire to make reality their ideas or creativity as an additional factor of motivation. We have seen that it is embedded within the motive, freedom and independence. Some additional factors are also discussed in entrepreneurship literature and research, which are as follows: leadership and self-actualization. However, self-actualization, meaning optimum level of self-satisfaction in terms of capacities, according to me, is within the motive of need for achievement. Leadership is not exactly a motivation, rather a manifestation. Traditional education system doesn't support you anymore in starting or sustaining your working life. However, no single set of motives has been found fully operational in case of entrepreneurs. Then we come to the next sub discussion, the behavioral traits one has to develop as capacities to sustain the entrepreneurial journey. Some of the key traits necessary for such journey are passion. We have already talked about that you have to love it, then only you can sustain it. Be creative, clarity of long-term vision, patience, work under pressure, function well with uncertainty or ambiguity, problem solving, communicating well, accept feedback as well. Perseverance means doing the same thing again and again despite no result or failure. Low support need. Low support need is, let me explain it little. Low support need is that how much you need in your life. If your support needs are very low, then it is easier for undertaking the long journey of entrepreneurship. Self-discipline and responsibility. It is said the biggest favor you can do to yourself, and I am stressing on this, the biggest favor you can do to yourself is to find out what you really love to do and find a way to earn money from it. Having a passion for a particular kind of work in itself is not enough if you don't have the creativity to design a process to see the light at the end of the day. You should also be clear about what exactly you want through the long-term vision. Some people may want stability, some people may want fame. You should be absolutely clear. What do you want? To execute the vision, you have to have the patience to wait for results, which are very slow to show most of the time. You'll need to have capacity to work under pressure. Where things are not clear-cut, do you have the ability to break down the situation and try to solve it while not losing sight of the holistic picture? While problem solving, you must not lose sight of the proverb, today's solution is often tomorrow's problem. Some important traits are self-discipline, being responsible to commitments to others, and doing things within the reasonable time frame. However, often one's work is both repetitive and one doesn't see result in one attempt. That is why perseverance means continuing to work towards the goal even there is a delay in getting it. You also need to communicate well. That means not only expressing your own thoughts and also receiving the feedback. Anyway, the most important aspect of communication is listening. You also need to communicate well. We have a very wrong impression or idea about communication. We think that one who speaks well is a good communicator, which is actually not so. One who takes feedback, one who listens well, is a good communication or good communicator. These individual traits in turn help the person to develop capacities to run a business or self-employment or being an independent professional, which are broadly categorized into having the emotional intelligence, strategic thinking ability, managerial ability for short-term plan execution, and continuously upgrading your technical know-how and abilities. Before I end, let me reiterate the fact that motivation to sustain the journey and continuous improvement in the endeavor of entrepreneurship needs severe passion or love for what you do. Else one will give it up. Moreover, there is a positive correlation between the objective pursued by entrepreneurs and performance in their business. How much you desire is a very significant factor for your success or failure. Whenever in doubt, please ask yourself, why did you start it at all? I would like to end this with a quote from Hermann Hesse's Siddhartha when the protagonist said, I can